Welcome back, Wicketers. Saran here once again. I'm your host today for this episode, a very special episode. Today, I am going to be doing a preview of the Asia Cup 2025. Now, I bet you're wondering, where on earth has Ollie gone? And there's quite a simple reason for that. He is not very, he doesn't know as much knowledge as I do compared to the Asia Cup, so it's one of the main reasons why we've decided it would be best if we do a solo pod on this. Now, the Asia Cup this year, we're going through every squad, and it's going to be a T20 tournament. It's T20, right? I'm sorry, I need to check this. Can't be making the same mistakes. Let's see. We have to be T20. Okay, we're safe. I can save myself from the embarrassment of getting it wrong. But we're talking about all of the Asia Cup squads, and it's going to be very interesting this year because they've actually increased it. They've increased the amount of teams in each group, which I think is very, very interesting. Because especially last year, I'm sure you guys remember, if you're a Pakistan fan, it might have been last year, 2023, I can't remember. We faced off against Sri Lanka in the semi-finals. That was 2023, I think. Yep. Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka won that Asia Cup. I think India won the most recent one. And yeah, this is happening in India, I'm pretty sure. Off the top of my head. This is happening in India? Nope, UAE. This is happening in the UAE. Yep. And that's going to be more of an even playing field for all the teams, I think. So, we're going to go into depth into each squad. There's a lot more squads on here than I originally thought there were. So we're going to do it in alphabetical order. That's, I think, the best way of us doing this. So we begin with Afghanistan. We begin with a very, very good squad already. I'm excited for this one. So, I'm going to start off by reading the squad first. All the squad names, then we can go into the nitty-gritty. So, Darwish Rasuli, Ibrahim Zadran, Muhammad Ishaq, Rahmanullah Gurbaz, Sadiqullah Atal, Rashid Khan, who's the captain, Azmatullah Omazai, Gulbadin Naib, Karim Jannat, Muhammad Nabi, Sharafuddin Ashraf, Farid Ahmed, Fazal Haq Faruqi, A.M. Ghazanfar, Mujib ur Rahman, Naveen al Haq, and Noor Ahmed. As squads go, that is pretty strong. We're going to try and go as deep in as possible. And you guys know I love talking about players individually. If you've watched anything about the podcast, I love talking about the players individually. So this is going to be one of the best times I can do it. So, let's start with the first couple on the list. So, we had... I don't know why it suddenly got so dark in here. I can only apologize. But anyway, so we have Darwish Rasuli first. The first name we've mentioned. He's been a bit of a disappointment so far in international cricket, especially for Afghanistan. He was promoted to be the next big hitter. Very much a power hitter for Afghanistan in that middle order. Something which I say they haven't had. Among all of the outstanding options that they've had in bowling, then the opening batting, they haven't really had a finisher, have they? I mean, they have Rashid Khan, who I guess counts as a finisher, but even still, he's more of an all-rounder. And, yeah, I think it says he's a top-order batsman. I think they really put him in as a finisher. And he just hasn't done the job the last few years that he's played, so bit of a baffling selection choice, but we leave it as that is. Ibrahim Zadran. He is such an integral player for Afghanistan. They have that power pack top order. Rahmanullah Gurbaz, he's an outstanding player. He's one of the most attacking ones. We'll move on to him in a second. But Ibrahim Zadran is the glue in the lineup. He is kind of like the anchor. Like, imagine the Joe Root of England. That's kind of what Ibrahim Zadran is. And England very well know how to do how they very well know about him. I'm pretty sure he scored a century. I'm not sure how much he scored, but he did score a lot against England in that 2023 World Cup where Afghanistan managed to beat England. So, I bet Ollie would know a lot about that. And he hasn't had as much recognition on the franchise circuit as perhaps he should have been, but that's just the way T20 cricket is these days. You're either dynamic, you're either a really good attacking batsman, or you're just an anchor. And then, unfortunately, as most cricketers have found out, being an anchor doesn't really work in T20s anymore as much as it used to. We move on to the wicket keepers now. We have, I think they've only picked 2 wicket keepers in the squad. They've picked Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Mohammad Ishaq. I don't really know too much about Mohammad Ishaq, so I can't really comment on him as much as Rahmanullah Gurbaz, but I know a lot about Rahmanullah Gurbaz. He is by far going to be their first choice wicketkeeper. Barring any injuries, I don't see him not starting in that lineup. Probably one of Afghanistan's most important players, behind Rashid Khan. He did really well in the current UAE Tri-Series. I was gonna make this Asia Cup preview right after the Tri-Series, but obviously with college starting and everything, it's been harder, so I had to find a time to record, and this was the best. But Rahmanullah Gurbaz, he's done amazing. He's done good on the franchise circuit for so many years now. He's a part of Kolkata Knight Riders, and his performances have been questionable, but still, I'm behind him. He is a very good player. He's been so important for Afghanistan, especially in the last few years, especially. And I don't see him, barring any injuries, not being in that top order. They need that kind of aggression in order to survive against teams like India and Pakistan, and even Sri Lanka, who have upgraded themselves, in my opinion. But anyway, Sadiqullah Atal is the final batter in the squad. Well, the final pure batter in the squad. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but he played for an MI franchise. I can't remember which one. I'm gonna have to search up which one he played for. Oh wait, never mind. He played for yes, he did play for an MI franchise. Yep. The only time I've heard his name was when he scored a 72 for MI Emirates, or MI Cape Town. And, I mean, it's a decent knock. Is it enough to get him in the squad? I mean, it's really on the fence, but you know what? He's in the squad. He's in there as batting depth. He might come in the first 11. You never know. But, you know what? Fair enough. This Afghanistan's cricket choice, and they don't have enough batting options. Even though the batting and the bowling has improved over the years, I still think batting is Afghanistan's weakest suit. Their bowling is star-studded. I can't wait to start talking about that. Oh, we're going to be there for a while. Speaking of being here for a while, Rashid Khan as the captain. I know Rashid Khan and captaincy are 2 words that you think would go really well together, but he's had quite a turbulent captaincy career, like literally giving up the captaincy as soon as it's announced a couple of years ago because he felt betrayed, and then he hasn't had the best run with captaincy in my opinion, so bit of a left field choice as captain, but left field choice for the starting 11? Of course not. You include Rashid Khan in almost every single 11. And there's not much I can speak about him that I haven't said already on this podcast. He's just a wizard. He has the ball on a string, and we saw that in the 100 most recently. He's been in good form. He skipped the final of the 100 in order to play the UAE Tri-Series, something he takes pride over, playing for country over club, which, do you know what, is something that most cricketers can't say. And that's why you gotta respect Rashid Khan. You can't hate on the guy. He's an amazing person. And cricketer in general. Azmatullah Omarzai and Gulbuddin Naib and Karim Jannat Muhammad Nabi and Sharafuddin Ashraf. I'm going to talk about these guys quite generally. Obviously I'll talk about some more than others, but I'll begin with Sharafuddin Ashraf. And I say begin very loosely. I know very, very little about him. He's apparently right-hand batter, slow left-arm orthodox. It gives Afghanistan another form of bowling. I mean, they're clearly lacking on mystery spinners, as we can all tell. They're clearly lacking it. But it's always good to have depth in your bowling lineup, especially when you compare Afghanistan to England. England have about 3 different players for each position, 3 different left arm spinners, 3 different right arm spinners, 3 different leg spinners, and maybe not as many left arm wrist spinners. But they definitely have many, many spin bowling options. The left arm seamers seem to be they don't seem to be in big supply though, don't they? But we're not talking about England in the Asia Cup, unless England suddenly join Asia in the next few seconds. Karim Jannat. Oh, if you're a Pakistan fan, you love to see his name. Probably one of the sole reasons that Pakistan managed to get into the 2021 T20 World Cup semi-final. It was an Asif Ali masterclass against Karim Jannat, yeah, he isn't the best, is he? Should he still be getting picked for Afghanistan? I mean, on paper, you have someone who's built in the mold of a Hardik Pandya, a fast bowling all-rounder who's able to hit the long ball. But then again, I look at the squad. That role's for Gulbadin Naib. Gulbadin Naib can do that role just as well, if not better, than Karim Jannat. So it's a little bit confusing why he's in the squad. I wasn't expecting him to be in the squad. I wasn't expecting him to play for Afghanistan again after that. But you know what? Fair enough. It's up to them. Speaking about Gulbadin Naib, he's actually been quite a vital cog for Afghanistan over the years. Yeah, he was captain in 2019 of the 2019 World Cup. Maybe not good with captaincy, but he has been very important for Afghanistan. Especially, I'd say on the levels of, I wouldn't say completely on the levels of, but he's been a bit underrated. Especially when you look at Afghanistan in general. You have Rahmanullah Gurbaz at the top opening up. Ibrahim Zadran as the glue in the middle, Rashid Khan and the spin bowling and the electrifying paces. Then Gulbadin Naib just kind of gets left in there, and you're kind of wondering, oh, what's he done? Without realizing exactly what he's done, because he's such an underrated player in my opinion. And you need to look no further than the last Asia Cup to realize that. Muhammad Nabi now, very much a seasoned veteran. I'd say there is no Afghanistan without Muhammad Nabi, and yep, he's played. He's over 40 years old, and he's still playing for Afghanistan, and he's still doing really well. And you know what? You have to respect it. He is probably one of Afghanistan's best cricketers, and he's not only good with the bat and good with the ball, but also he's there as one of the senior figures. And yeah, there's really not much else I can say about Muhammad Nabi apart from that, because he kind of speaks for himself. And we go on to the final all-rounder, Azmatullah Umarzai. Now, he has had a bit of a resurgence. I say resurgence, but more of an emergence, because in the last couple years, he has done really, really well for Afghanistan. Towards the start, I remember he wasn't as good as we were expecting him to be, but still, he played good for Sunrisers Hyderabad. No, not Sunrisers Hyderabad. He played for an IPL team. I can't remember exactly which one. Maybe it was Punjab Kings, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Punjab Kings. He did really well for them in the IPL. And he's also been really good for Afghanistan as well. He's kind of been that middle order enforcer, that pacer in the middle order. And sometimes he can swing the new ball, but let's be honest, that's a job for Fazl Haq Farooqi, who we'll get onto in a second. There's no denying that Azmatullah Umarzai is an amazing player. I mean, he's even scored 100 as well. And from a very low position as well. He's kind of Afghanistan's version of Hardik Pandya. That's, in my opinion, the closest comparison you can get with Afghanistan and Hardik Pandya. Azmatullah Umarzai. So consistent. If he comes good, then Afghanistan will be very, very dangerous. Now we get into the bowling. We begin with a spicy name here, Farid Ahmed. I have a personal grudge against this guy, because remember that Asia Cup match? Remember Pakistan versus Afghanistan? Basically, this was 2023, I think. It was 2023 or 2024, I can't remember the year. It was an Asia Cup match between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Pakistan were down in the dumps, and Farid Ahmed, he had the audacity. With every wicket he celebrated, he took some attitude. He even threw a punch close to Asif Ali's face. And of course Asif Ali reacted, as he should have, because that was horrendous. Who does he think he is? You're not even a starting member of the Afghanistan lineup, and you're chatting so much. And we won the game anyway, so screw you. I don't like him, just because of the fact how he was taunting the Pakistani players. And even still, Asif Ali ended up getting a higher punishment than he did. Like, what is this? I didn't know the ICC had an A in it. Or does the ICC hate peas? What is this? Anyway, that match was complete pandemonium. Anyway, rant out the way. Fazal Haq Farooqi, as I have mentioned before, he's been very much part of this new generation of Afghanistan players who are very much like this pace bowling lineup. Like, Afghanistan used to only be known for its spinners. The pace bowling didn't used to be that good, but through Fazal Haq Farooqi, Naveen ul Haq, then Azmatullah Umarzai, it's just been improving so much. It's like a new generation of pace bowling for Afghanistan, and Fazal Haq Farooqi has been at the start of it. Like, there are very few. Like, he's very much like a Shaheen Afridi or a Mitchell Stark in the fact that the swing he manages to get, even though he's not that tall, but for Afghanistan, it's so impressive how he manages to get that swing in the opening overs. He's so dangerous for opening batsmen, and he's even done that for Sunrisers Hyderabad a little bit, even though it hasn't been as successful as his international career has been. And he hasn't been in the best of form recently, but trust me, when he gets in form, he's very much one to look out for in this Afghanistan lineup. Talking about Naveen ul Haq, the last 5 years he has been amazing for Afghanistan. I think, don't quote me on this, but he was an under-19 captain, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he's made the step up from under-19 really well. I remember especially when he was playing for Leicestershire in the county, in the T20 Blast. He was doing really well there. He was the leading wicket taker, I'm pretty sure, in one of the seasons that he played. And he's been amazing for Afghanistan as well. The arsenal of slower balls that he has, his death bowling is amazing, and he's genuine. I think he was one of the first of this new generation of Afghanistan bowlers to really hit the international stage, and the franchise stage in general. You see a lot more Afghan superstars now, and most of them aren't even spinners anymore. Like Rashid Khan and Noor Ahmed, Mujibur Rahman, and even you could even say what was his name? He played for Trinbago Knight Riders. I can't remember. Did he play last season? I can't remember the other Afghan's name, but we're starting to see a lot more pace bowling from Afghanistan now, and this can only mean good things. Now we talk about the spin bowling. I've spoken a lot about the squad already, so I'm going to briefly talk about them. A.M. Ghazenfar, Mujibur Rahman, and Noor Ahmed. the issue that Afghanistan will have is not all of their spinners are all-rounders. Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi, they're amazing spinners. They can provide 4 overs each, and they're batters. But then you look at Majib, Noor, and Ghaznfar, they're not batters. They could have a really long tail, which is very much an issue, especially in modern cricket. And it'll be really, really interesting to see how they manage to balance it up. Especially when you have, like, Majib and Ghaznfar, both very similar bowlers, both right-arm mystery spinners, and then you have Noor Ahmed, a left-arm wrist spinner, who I would put in the 11 personally. He would be one of my starters. But anyway, that's the Afghanistan team. We've spoken a lot about them already. Crikey, this is going to be a long one. This is going to be a long one, isn't it? Anyway, if the thing would kindly like to work. We move on to the Bangladesh squad. Ooh, Bangladesh. Ooh, this is another very interesting team. Let's have a look at Bangladesh in general, actually. Let's see. What are they coming from? They had a T20I series against the Netherlands. And they had a T20I series against Pakistan as well. They've actually won both of the series, believe it or not. But this is my issue with Bangladesh. I'm going to give you a very brief introduction. The mid-order pitches that they play on, they even beat Australia and New Zealand on them. Yes, they're second-string sides, but those pitches are suited to their spinners for a T. So that's why I think the series win against Pakistan didn't really mean much in the end. Because in the end, they were still... Yes, it was probably a full-strength Pakistan, and it was an embarrassment to lose, but still, the spinners were absolutely tailor-made for that pitch. And if Bangladesh don't play on a spin-friendly pitch, then they're in tatters. And yet we've seen it so many times before as well. The pace bowling isn't what it used to be, even though they've got some very, very exciting paces in here, who I can't wait to talk about. We start off with the captain, Liton Das. He's had a big rut of form lately. He has not been the Liton Das that Bangladesh have relied on in the last decade or so. But you can't count him out. He's been a decent captain so far. He's led them to a few series wins, even though before that it hasn't been as good as it perhaps should have been. But right now, I think Bangladesh are carrying some much-needed momentum into this Asia Cup, which is more than what other teams can say, especially. And Liton Das, he needs to carry that on. He needs to carry that on a lot more. He's one of the senior members of the squad. He needs to step up and take the big stage. They've got 3 more wicket-keeping options in the squad: Jaikar Ali, Nurul Hassan, Parvez Hossain Iman. It'll be interesting to see how they line up their opening partnership. I mean, it will probably be Tanzid Hassan and Parvez Hossain Iman. Or it will be what they did against Netherlands. What did they actually do against Netherlands? Let's have a look. Saif Hassan and Liton Das. They didn't actually include them, which is very interesting. Although that might have been just for the one game. Yeah, I was right. Parvez Hossain Iman, Tanzid Hassan, and then Liton Das at 3. I'm expecting that to be the top 3. It makes the most sense. And, I mean, it's worked well for them. Tanzid Hassan has gotten into some decent form. Hossain Iman, very exciting young player as well. So I'd be very surprised if they altered away from that top 3. Saif Hassan shouldn't probably break into there so quickly. We now move on to Jaikar Ali, who's one of the finishers. And he hasn't done too bad of a job, has he? We haven't seen a lot of him. Like, how many T20s has he played? Okay, never mind, he's played 35. I stand corrected. Bangladesh cricket knowledge isn't too good, but the last few times he has played, he's got 20 not out, 55, 15, 3, 27, 24. So, not the worst numbers in the world. There are certainly worse finishers out there. But I think that's where Nurul Hassan will come in as well. Nurul Hassan, Tawhid Hridoy, and Jaikar Ali, all three of them, very, very crucial to Bangladesh's chances. Speaking of Tawhid Hridoy, ever since he actually broke into the Bangladesh squad, has he played an innings of note, in my opinion? There isn't one innings that really stands out to me with him. I mean, of course I could be wrong, which, I've proved multiple times, but he's played 46 T20s, 909 runs with an average of about 26 and a strike rate of 124. That's not really the mindset that Bangladesh are trying to adapt. They're trying to adapt that attacking mindset. That's why Hridoy was selected in the first place. But that really gets me scratching my head, wondering, did they make the right call? Because he doesn't seem to be as attacking as they think. But you know what? What can we do? Right, we've got the all-rounders now coming up. I say all-rounders, but some of them in here really aren't all-rounders in my opinion. Nazum Ahmed as an all-rounder. Now that is a strange one. I think with Nazum Ahmed, in those aforementioned Australia and New Zealand T20 series, he did really well on those pitches. But my concern for Bangladesh, as I'm going to echo, is if they don't play on spin-friendly pitches, I don't see them winning that many games. Because they have loads of spinners, amazing spinners. Mahdi Hassan, Nazum Ahmed, Rishad Hussain. And they're really good. But the issue I have is, because they're so used to playing on those pitches, will they struggle when it comes to when they don't get assistance from the pitch? That really is a talking point, and also a major absentee from the squad. Someone who I think should have been in this Bangladesh squad, Mahdi Hassan Miraz. Now, they have a Mahdi Hassan in there, but not a Miraz in there. And that really surprised me. Especially considering the fact that he's basically in that leadership team. Why would you not pick him? Was there really a need to pick Nazum Ahmed, who clearly hasn't done as good as he should have been after the last World Cup? I think Mirage should have definitely played. Like, even though he might not have been in the best of form, as I've said, my Bangladesh cricket knowledge isn't that strong, even though I'm doing an Asia Cup preview. But still, you can't count out Mahdi Hassan Miraz. He's one of Bangladesh's linchpins. Why on earth would you get rid of him? Another important player to talk about here, Rishad Hussain, Bangladesh's new leg spinner, and leg spin in Bangladesh is a dying form of bowling, and Rishad Hussain is probably likely one of the... I'm not going to say one of the last ones, because I know Bangladesh will make more leg spinners, but he's probably, right now, currently their only hope in terms of leg spin, and he has delivered so far. He's played around the world as well, which I find very interesting. When's the last time you heard a Bangladesh leg spinner become an overseas specialist? But anyway, he did really well in that World Cup as well. I'm expecting him to do pretty decently in this Asia Cup, because even though I've mentioned that Bangladesh spinners might struggle outside of being out of Bangladesh, they might struggle doing that, but even still, in my opinion, he is one of those spinners who can challenge that, and in my opinion, can do really well outside the world. He's proved it. He has played in the UAE, he's played in Pakistan, he's played in India, he's played around the world, and he's done really well. So that's kind of the one outlier out of what I was mentioning. Now we move on to the pace attack. I think their pace attack is a lot stronger than their spinners, which counters my point of them struggling outside of spin bowling pitches. But they have Tanzim Hassan Saqib, Mustafizur Rahman, the Fizz, Shorif Islam, and Tuskin Ahmed. Tuskin Ahmed, obviously the leader of the attack, a bustling, fast-paced all-rounder. He's in a decent nick, isn't he? And he is definitely one of those senior members of the squad. And he's done really, really well in the last few games he's played. He's picked up 2 wickets against the Netherlands, 4, then 3 and 6 against Pakistan. It's just incredible. He's in a rich vein of form. If he keeps that going, then Bangladesh could be looking really dangerous. Shoriful Islam is a name that really kind of confuses me. Yes, he's a tall left-arm pacer, but his returns haven't been very convincing, and it's a little bit confusing in my opinion, because surely you could have picked someone like Nahid Rana, a genuine pace bowler, a very exciting pace talent. I agree with the fact that maybe you need to get some left-arm paces in there, but even still, you have Mustafizur Rahman, and even look at teams like England, who managed to survive with right-arm bowlers. Like, it's not a necessity to have different bowlers in your lineup. It's not a necessity. It's a very good thing to have, but it's not guaranteed to win you games. You require bowlers who have that raw advantage and raw skill that, if you nurture, can do really, really well. And this is one of those cases where I think Nahid Rana should have been in the squad as well, along with Miraz. And Tanzim Hassan Saqib, medium pacer. There's this argument of whether you want pace over control. Obviously, England have taken the pace route over control. Poor old Sam Cook. Well, obviously, Bangladesh are kind of in the middle, though, aren't they? Obviously, the squad is looking... It's probably one of their strongest squads. It could have been stronger, but I don't see them getting any further than the first stage, in my opinion. Just because of how strong the teams are. And Bangladesh, in my opinion, even though this isn't a weak team by any means, definitely not one of the stronger ones. We now move on to the Hong Kong. Now, I'm gonna very briefly talk about this. Hong Kong is one of those ones where it's like, I kind of know nothing, so we will be very brief and quick on this. We'll only speak about a few players in here. There are a couple players that I do know about. So, Yasim Murtaza, the captain. He's been the captain for Hong Kong. I want to say he's been the captain for the last few years, but I don't want to jump the gun and make a mistake, so I will hold myself to that. But even when Hong Kong made it to the Asia Cup, they weren't horrendous. Against India, they showed spirit. Especially in the first half of the game. When they faced off against India, they did really well. They weren't letting them break the shackles too quickly, but then it all kind of fell apart in the second half. And the batting, apart from Baba Hayat, who got a 50 in that game, the batting fell apart completely. But it goes to show you, associate teams are becoming stronger. I mean, trust me, as a Pakistan fan, I'd know that. We lost to the USA in the 2024 World Cup. So, speaking about Baba Hayat, though, he's been... well, one more thing about Yasin Murtaza. He's been an amazing captain for Hong Kong, I think. Especially due to the fact that he's led them to another Asia Cup. And it's impressive. It really is. And this is one of the best things about cricket. The fact that almost every team feels like they have a chance to win. Even in this Asia Cup, when I look at some of these squads, yeah, there are clear favourites, but even still, you can't rule out the associate teams. Because, especially during the last couple years, we've realised, don't sleep on them. They will stab you right in the back. That's a very weird analogy, but moving on. Baba Hayat, he's been a linchpin in the Hong Kong batting order. I've already spoken his praises in that game against India. Very impressive. And he's one of those senior members of the squad. He needs to step up if Hong Kong are to make it far in this tournament, which is very difficult considering the fact that they are pretty much in this group I like to call the group of death, where you have Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Hong Kong and Sri Lanka. Especially in that group, I don't expect Hong Kong to make it too far unless they pull some upsets, which you never know. You never know. And Anshuman Rath, a guy who was originally born in India and grew up playing his cricket in India, then has come to Hong Kong and has become a household name. He is again another senior member, even though he's only 27. He's still a senior member for Hong Kong, and I expect him to deliver. That's what the hope is. And a bunch of the other bowlers in here, especially in that game against India. I love to point to that game just because it really goes to show how much like the Hong Kong in general has improved. I like to use that as a bit of a benchmarker. And I think it was Ehsan Khan who managed to bowl really well, especially against those Indian batsmen. I'm pretty sure he had an economy rate of under 8, which against India is mighty impressive. I mean, like, well done. I give you a handshake, because that was impressive. Doing that kind of thing against India is not easy, and especially for an associate team, it's even harder, which makes it even better. Anyway, that's my brief little conversation about Hong Kong. Ooh, we get into one of the big ones. India. Right then. We're gonna sit up in my chair for this one. I'm gonna read out the squad to you. You guys can digest it for yourselves, and then I will give my opinions on it. Surya Kumar Yadav as the captain, Shubman Gill, the vice-captain, Sanju Samson, Jitesh Sharma, Rinku Singh, Abhishek Sharma, Shivam Dubey, Hardik Pandya, Akshar Patel, Tilak Varma, Arshdeep Singh, Jasprit Bumrah, Harshit Rana, Kuldeep Yadav, and Varun Chakravarti. A very interesting squad, isn't it? It's very, very interesting. Especially with... Oh, I could speak about this squad all day. But do you know what? I'm not gonna try and keep this brief. India is a massive team in this tournament. One of my favourites to win. I'm gonna give my proper predictions later on, and you guys can rate it from that. But let's digest this first of all. Surya Kumar Yadav and Shubman Gill. Surya Kumar Yadav, the captain of India. It was expected. He's the captain. He used to be the number 1 T20I batsman. He still has that game, but he's obviously had a bit of a decline. But even still, he is an amazing batter. A late bloomer for India, but one of their middle order maestros. And now we have Shubman Gill. There is quite a few arguments you can make with Shubman Gill. You can make the argument, oh, why didn't Yashasvi Jaiswal get picked? Why didn't Shreyas Iyer get picked? But it was all due to the fact he's the vice-captain of the squad. And he's really upgraded his batting so much. I'm pretty sure it must have been so difficult to leave out players like Shreyas Iyer and Yashasvi Jaiswal, especially for a player as amazing as Shubman Gill is. For Gujarat Titans, he's been outstanding as not only their captain, but as a batter. Whew, I could sing his praises all day. He's just incredible. There isn't much else to say about what I'm interested in is, though, if he's going to be... Like, as we've seen in red ball cricket, we've made this point before on the podcast. I don't know if you guys remember. Shubman Gill, he was integrated into the middle order. What I'm interested in is whether he kind of gets that role again, but in the white ball squads. But I think my general opinion on that is, if I were to answer my own question, I'd say no. He would be opening alongside Abhishek Sharma, who I think has probably solidified his spot as the number 1 opener for India. We move on to the wicket keepers, Sanju Samson and Jitesh Sharma. What's crucial is Rishabh Pant isn't in the squad. Rishabh Pant is not in the squad. And you could make the argument that he should be in it. And I would agree with you. I think, unless he was massively injured, I think Rishabh Pant should have been in the squad. I'm going to see if there was a specific reason why he was left out. We're going to have a look. Even Abhishek Nair himself said India's Asia Cup squad wasn't very thought out. Even Abhishek Nair, even he didn't think the squad was as good as it probably was. Let's see here. I don't see Rishabh Pant anywhere in the squad, which is very confusing. Unless he's injured, which I'm pretty sure would obviously mean that he's not going to be in the squad. So, obviously, I don't know too much about it, so I'm not going to make a bold statement that Rishabh Pant should be in the squad. I don't know if he's injured or not, so that's not my place to say, but if he was fully fit, then he should be in the squad, 100%. But currently they have Sanju Samson and Jitesh Sharma. I personally think Jitesh Sharma should be getting the nod over Sanju Samson. Jitesh Sharma and Rinku Singh, both as finishers, that is amazing. That is beautiful. That, in my opinion, would be the icing on the cake of this India lineup. Of course, no disrespect to Sanju Samson whatsoever. He's an outstanding batter in his own right. It's just the case of the fact, who does he replace? Which is the exact same argument made with Shreyas Iyer. There's too many amazing batters in this India squad, and I think like that's really come to do some of that undoing. Now we move on to some of the all-rounders. India have got a very big left-handed middle order, haven't they? Abhishek, middle order lineup. Akshar Patel, Tilak Varma, Shivam Dubey, Abhishek Sharma. 4 out of 5 of the all-rounders are left-handers, which really goes to show why you needed Shreyas Iyer in this lineup. You need to break up that line of left-handers. Yes, Hardik Pandya, he's a right-hander as well. I'll list you the right-handers who I think will be in the squad. So Shubman Gill, Surya Kumar Yadav, Jitesh Sharma, then Hardik Pandya. So 4 left-handers. Not too bad, I know, but in my opinion, I think they have too many left-handers in the overall squad in general instead of the lineup. Because what happens if some of the right-armers get injured? I know you have players in the reserve lineup. They have Riyan Parag, they have Shreyas Iyer, they have a couple other players. But in my opinion, they've picked way too many left-handers. And it would be really interesting to see how they line up with their squad to balance it out. Especially considering the fact that they have quite a few all-rounders. And India, they want more batting depth. Which is it's very confusing, isn't it? This Indian squad really is puzzling my brain because it makes you think about a lot of things. It makes you think why certain players aren't in there and how they are actually going to balance it out. Because this looks like one of the strongest squads of the tournament. But then it's a case of how does the 11 stack up? Because it's all well and good that you have a strong squad. But at the end of the day, it's all about the 11 and how you stack up. You want to get the 11 best players out on the pitch and you want to see them do well. I could speak all day about the Indian middle order, but I think I've spoken enough about them. Ollie won't be happy. Jasprit Bumrah. I don't even need to speak about Jasprit Bumrah. I've spoken about him so much on this podcast already. The one thing I will say about him is, though, it will be interesting to see how many T20s in this Asia Cup does he play. And I personally think he'll only play against Pakistan in the opening round. He'll only play against Pakistan and he'll be rested against the other 2 teams. Just because of the fact you don't want him getting injured and you want to save him for that second stage of the tournament and the final as well. So yeah, Jasprit Bumrah, that's all the words you're getting. As for the other pacers that they have in the lineup, Harshit Rana, Arshdeep Singh, and Hardik Pandya. I'm very much confused why Mohammad Siraj isn't in the squad. Why is Mohammad Siraj not here? He's done really well for India. Does Harshit Rana really warrant a place over him? I admit he offers a bit more batting depth, and they're trying to get him to be like another Hardik Pandya, but still. Really? You're not including Siraj? That's really confusing. He's been one of India's best white ball bowlers. I'd say right behind Jasprit Bumrah as a pacer. And suddenly not including him in the squad is a surprise. But some of the other ones which aren't surprises in my opinion, Arshdeep Singh, Kuldeep Yadav and Varun Chakravarti, all three deserve their spot quite thoroughly to round out a completely and utterly dominating Indian lineup. Even with some of the selection errors that they've made, this still looks like a really strong squad, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to make it all the way or win. Right then, Oman. Oman cricket really is in a weird state, isn't it? Because I don't know if you guys know, but a couple months ago back, there was a story about the fact that Oman players weren't actually paid what they were supposed to in that 2024 Asia Cup. Many of them actually had to give up central contracts, and they had to give up playing cricket. They had to move to the US or India in order to get a job, because the Oman Cricket Board refused to pay them. And honestly, that's a bit messed up if you ask me, so I feel very bad for some of these cricketers, but it's good to see them back in the Asia Cup, and to see some of these cricketers actually come back and ready to play some cricket and playing the sport that they love. As always, my Oman cricket isn't great either, so you're gonna have to bear with me. They've got quite a few players withdrawn from the squad, from the aforementioned thing I've mentioned earlier. And Zishan Maqsood, probably their most famous player, he's not playing. Zishan Maqsood isn't playing. Probably one of their most premium all-rounders, and he's not playing. I don't know if he was actually a victim of one of those central contract misconducts. I'm going to have to do a bit more research on that, because it's so interesting and so upsetting to how the fact that they haven't been paid what they're playing. So that's the sad story of Oman cricket. I really have nothing to say about them. Part of it is out of respect for the fact that some of the cricketers have lost the chance that they had to play, but then also because I don't know most of these players, and the only one I'm slightly aware of, Jatinder Singh, the captain. But honestly, I want Oman to do well in this tournament. They probably won't get past the qualifying stage, but in order to help them as a cricketing nation, I want to see them do decent. I want to see at least one win in this tournament. I think Oman cricket and really needs this. Anyway, we move on to the Pakistan squad. I think I've spoken a little bit about this Asia Cup squad, so I'm not going to cover it as much as I did in my last one. Because on one of the podcasts, I did cover the Pakistan Asia Cup and Tri-Series squad, but I'll briefly go over some new points. I'll briefly go over if I have anything to correct, or if I feel like giving a different verdict. So, the obvious elephant in the room, Fakhar Zaman. I can only apologise. He has been really good in the Tri-Series. Really, really good. And we've seen it for himself. 77 off 44 in that game against the UAE. That kind of brought Pakistan back into it, didn't it? It really took them out off that top spot. And yes, it was down to a bunch of errors from the fielders as well, but there's no denying Fakhar Zaman is class. And I'd say right behind Farhan and Aga, he's probably one of Pakistan's better players now. Yeah, I know I changed my tune on that very quickly, but he has made me eat my words. made me eat them quite convincingly. So I can only apologise to Fakhar Zaman for that. But now we move on to the two players who I predicted would do really well. So, Mohammad Nawaz and Fahim Ashraf. Fahim Ashraf, against Afghanistan, he spun an absolute web around them. 4 for 27. Absolutely impressive. Like I told you guys, he's kind of what England kind of need right now. A fifth bowling option who you can bowl 4 overs with and is viable. Who has that control. And he's just been really impressive. His batting hasn't really fired yet, which it will take time. It will take some time. But the bowling has been on point, especially throughout this tri-series. Maybe the game against the UAE, he only bowled the 1 over, but still, he has been so impressive this tournament, and he has well and truly sort of backed up my point about him needing to be in that squad. Another person who's backed up my point about needing to be in the squad, Mohammad Nawaz. As I've told you guys, there was no reason why he shouldn't be picked either, and he's very much proved why. Throughout the tri-series, he's not only scored quick runs, he's also picked up vital wickets as well. So, look at that. I'm predicting Pakistan cricket. I'm predicting them to win. I'll give my proper predictions later on, and I'll give you my justifications for it later. That's not my proper one, by the way. Or it might be. You never know. But anyway. Back to Mohammad Nawaz. He's like I told you guys. Imad Wasim, but a middle order version. Like a middle over version, even. He can operate in the middle order a lot. He can even operate in the opening overs. Like, while it's true, Imad Wasim is the better power play bowler, Mohammad Nawaz is the better all-round bowler. And I've said this so many times. Pakistan have made the right decision by bringing him back in. And this is a common theme that I've noticed in this Asia Cup squad. They've brought back old-timers who have done well for them. Excluding one. They've brought back players who have done really well for them and who I think will definitely be the difference makers for them this tournament. Speaking about a few of these players, Hassan Ali, who is actually in the squad. I don't know if I've spoken about him in that Asia Cup squad, but he seems to have come back a much better bowler. It's kind of a resurgence. I think everyone predicted after 2021, yeah, no way he's coming back in. Especially after that poor performance against Australia. But no, his performances have been decent. And I've always been on the fence with Hassan Ali. And I'll be the first to admit it. I was surprised to see him in this squad. But to see how he's performed is another story entirely. Like, he might not be a regular in the squad anymore, but he's definitely impressive depth. And I think he's probably Pakistan's best depth right now. One more player I want to speak about, and I've spoken a lot about the bowlers, because I've already spoken quite a bit about the batting. Abrar Ahmed. Pakistan's best leg spinner right now. While it's a crime, and I admit it's a crime, an absolute travesty, that Pakistan aren't picking Shadab Khan anymore, which is disappointing on so many levels. A premier all-rounder. Abrar Ahmed is a sure enough replacement. I mean, that 4 for 9 against... that 4 for 9 was amazing. He had... I can't remember which team it was. I need to check. Amateur night. I don't know why the screen is so dark, by the way. I don't know if that's just me. Whether it's the hat or whether it's just the screen. I don't know why I'm so dark. I can only apologize. I promise you I'm brown. Like, I'm brown-skinned, I promise. I'm not as dark as I look. But Abrar Ahmed against the UAE, 4 for 9. Whew, he had them at an absolute web. It's the first time he's played in the tri-series, but even still, even before that, in the series against West Indies, he picked up 3 wickets in 2 games. It's still impressive. He's genuinely, I'd say, Pakistan's best white ball spinner right now. And He could really do well in this Asia Cup. I'm hoping for him to do well. He's kind of Pakistan. I wish that Pakistan haven't moved on from Shadab Khan. I really hope they haven't. They still need to keep picking him. There's no reason why he shouldn't not be picked. But Pakistan cricket, what can we say? What can we say? Overall, it's a decent squad. That's what I'm saying. My only concern is do they go youth over experience? Especially in certain parts of this bowling lineup. I can tell they've picked Hassan Ali over someone like Abbas Afridi, which raises a few eyebrows. Abbas Afridi is another leading Pakistan bowler. He's made a good start to his international career. Whether Pakistan go down the path of trying to reintegrate the has-beens into the squad, or whether they do away with them, kind of like England have done, like when you're dropped, you're dropped. But do they do something similar to that, or do they try and reintegrate the has-beens back in? They've been successful with Mohammad Nawaz and Fahim Ashraf. Those two have been successful. The concern comes when they try and do it with has-beens who don't offer much potential anymore. That is the main issue. I can only apologize. 1 second. My phone is acting up. Anyway, this is a good point for me to say. This is a good point for me to say that make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the podcast. If you enjoy these solo podcasts, let me know, because I will be making a lot more of these, especially when it comes to tournaments that I'm very, very familiar with and I'm very passionate about speaking, especially with the Asia Cup. You can see how fast my mouth is moving. You can see how fast my mouth is moving. So, yep. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe. You won't regret it. We do some amazing content, and we're hoping you enjoy it just as much as we do. But anyway, that's out of the way. Let's move on to the Sri Lankan squad. Sri Lanka. I said let's move on to the Sri Lanka squad. There we go. Okay. It was acting up there for a second. Let's have a look at their recent form, because I haven't watched much of Sri Lanka recently. They actually play against Zimbabwe. They actually play 2 more T20s against Zimbabwe before the Asia Cup, the showpiece event. So I'm going to be going off the first T20I. They also had some ODIs as well. They had a series against Bangladesh where they lost 2-1. So there's a lot to digest there. Against Zimbabwe, they have their Asia Cup squad, I'm pretty sure. And the top order has pretty much been inked out for them. It's kind of been confirmed. It's going to be Pathum Nissanka, Kusal Mendes, Kusal Pereira. That is the top 3 that they're going to have. And they've brought so much success. Pathum Nissanka especially. Probably a generational Sri Lankan talent who's been doing so well for them, especially, I'd say more in ODI cricket than in T20 or Test, but still, there's no denying how amazing he is as an all-format player, one of Sri Lanka's most important players. Then, Charith Asalanka, I keep saying Pakistan, the Sri Lankan captain, he's so important to them. Saying he's important is an understatement. He bats around number 4, number 5, and it means he has to either come in as a finisher, a floater, or he has to do a repair job. And the fact is, his batting hasn't declined as he's got the captaincy, which is something we've seen so much of. Like, players who have the captaincy, and then batting isn't as good as it should be. But Charith Asalanka is a bit of an outlier in that, and he's so important for Sri Lanka, and I think if he manages to have a good tournament, like he did with the World Cup in 2021 and the most recent ICC tournaments, Sri Lanka will be looking really, really good. and they could emerge out of the group of death. Now, some of the all-rounders. Wanindo Hasaranga and Kamindo Mendes. Two very important players. I was going to say another word, but no, they're important players. Wanindo Hasaranga, he has been announced fit, and he is back in the tournament. And he is his favourite format of the T20s. He hasn't had a good time of it in the ODIs, which, fair enough. But T20s is the format that he strives in the most. And he's probably Sri Lanka's best spinner currently. And they are almost nothing without Wanindo Hasaranga. He's been such an important cog for them, especially not just because he offers rip-roaring leg spin, but then also because he's a floater as well. He can also come in and be a big hitter straight from ball one, a finisher in that kind of sense. Talking about a finisher, Dasun Shanaka and Kamindo Mendes. Two players at very different ends of their career. Dasun Shanaka, who's likely going to retire in the next few years. He used to be the Sri Lankan captain. Obviously, he's done with the captaincy now. But he's back in the squad, and he's going to be tasked with that finishing role. I imagine he won't be bowling as much as he perhaps should be, but there's not much you can do about that. If you have other options in the squad, you should use them. Don't always use a sixth or a seventh option. And Kamindo Mendes, his ambidextrous spin is what first got him into the limelight, and he hasn't really developed that skill much. It's very rare you see that skill now. He's more renowned for his batting. As a test batsman, he's incredible. ODI, T20, not the greatest. And he's actually, for Sunrisers Hyderabad, even though he hasn't played as many games, 92 runs off 5 matches isn't too bad, is it? It's not the worst. Especially looking at the games that he's recently played. The T20s that he's played for Sri Lankan Greens, and then against Zimbabwe, he's managed to get scores of 40 plus in the last, well, not the innings before, not the ODI against Zimbabwe, but the last 3 T20 innings he's played, he's gotten over 40. So he's in a decent nick of form, and he really needs that, in my opinion, especially in the Sri Lankan lineup. Now we move on to the Pacers. These Pacers very much excite me. This is one of the most exciting pace attacks in the tournament, in my opinion. Dushmantha Chameera. We all know how amazing he is. He's one of Sri Lanka's trump cards. How do I know this? There was a series in England. I don't know how many years ago it was. Probably a couple. And Dushmantha Chameera was the best bowler there. And he still is, in my opinion, one of Sri Lanka's best pace bowlers. And he can do really well for them, especially. Now, here's another big name. Especially in the death bowling. Matisha Patirana. The young Lasith Malinga. And it's going to be really interesting. Oh, I'm lagging. Oh, dear. That hasn't happened. Alright. Post lobotomy Cobra out the way. I don't have to worry about the lagging. But Matisha Patirana, back to him. A young Lasith Malinga, who's not really like Lasith Malinga. Yes, he has the sling, but he's a lot more side-on than Malinga is. He can't really get the swing in, but it means he can fire in the Yorker a lot more. But the thing is, he's been very injury-prone. That's his issue that he's got. But the thing is, when he's firing, there are very few death bowlers that can hit the lengths that he can. Especially since he has a very mean bouncer as well. Something that you don't really know for right-arm sling bowlers. Talking about sling bowlers, we have the other one in the squad, Nuwan Tushara. And I really like Nuwan Tushara. I think he's amazing. He played for Gaul Gladiators a couple seasons ago, and if you know anything about me on this channel, I love purple and gold teams. I'm obsessed with them. Two of my favorite colors in the world, purple and gold. So he played for them. Obviously, I fell in love with him as a player, and he's done really well. Especially ever since he took a hat trick in one of his T20Is, he has not looked back since. Because the difference in the sling bowling between Nuwan Toshara and Matisha Patirana is Nuwan Toshara can get a lot more swing. That's where Lasith Malinga, as a bowling consultant, can really help him. But then with Matisha Patirana, it's different. Because he's a lot more side-on. The Yorker side of Lasith Malinga can help out. The Yorker side of Lasith Malinga can help out with him. And yeah, it's a really niche art of sling bowlers, isn't it? We've seen Pakistan try and have these sling bowlers as well. Zaman Khan, who's kind of been tossed away by Pakistan for some reason, who, in my opinion, should be in the squad as well, because the sling bowlers are very rare to find. Like, you also have sling bowlers like Salman Urshad as well, but he's way too inconsistent to be in a Pakistan squad, in my opinion. Anyway, the spinners, the other two spinners, Dunith Wellalagi and Mahesh Deekshana. Wellalagi, as a under-19 Sri Lankan captain, he's made the step up to international, as he should do, and he provides them with an interesting option, left-arm spin. There aren't many left-arm bowlers in this lineup. You have Binura Fernando, someone I haven't mentioned, and then obviously you have Kamindu Mendes and his ambidextrous spin. He can bowl with both hands. But then Charita Solanka can also bowl with his left hand, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure he can. I need to check that. Oh, no, never mind. No, never mind. Never mind. Right arm off break. Even though he's a left-hand batter. I can only apologise. But Mahesh Deekshana, he's not your traditional mystery spinner, because he can also bowl in the death overs as well. He can hit a mean Yorker. I wouldn't compare him as much to Dan Mosley, but he's very much not as quick as he is, but accurate as well. And he can also operate in the power play as well. He can operate basically as a pacer, but in the pace overs, but as a spinner. And that saves a lot of options, especially like if they have Nuwan Toshara and Mahesh Deekshana in the power play, then they have a couple overs of Dushmanta Chimera, then they can save Matisha Patirana for the death overs and Dushmanta Chimera, two of their best bowlers. And Wanindu Hasaranga can do his thing in the middle overs. And this could be a very dangerous squad for Sri Lanka here. That's the thing about this Asia Cup in particular. Especially Group 2. It's very hard to separate the three teams. I say the three teams because I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't see Hong Kong making it past. But Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka all have good chances of making it through. Especially if Afghanistan do really well in the UAE Tri-Series. I think they have a really, really good chance. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Now we move on to the final squad, the United Arab Emirates. I don't know a lot about this squad, yet again, so it'll be a bit of a... won't be as good as an ending as it should be, but this video has already been so long, so I want to end it. So, the captain, Mohammad Wasim. There's so much I can say about Mohammad Wasim. He was first of all seen in a T10 tournament for Northern Warriors, and he did really well for them. He got the joint fastest half-century, 50 off 12 balls. From that, he got a Multan Sultan cricket contract with the PSL. He didn't play a game, though. But what happened, though, is that he continued playing more over the years. And what happened from that is he I'm sorry, my brain. This is what college does to a person. Your brain is fried. But anyway, he played for the MI franchises, a couple of them, and he has done really well. He's done really, really well for them. Oh, my friends are messaging me. Right when I'm in the middle of recording, so I should probably get this done pretty soon. But anyway, UAE, when I look at that squad, they have challenged them. They had the same squad for the Tri-Series. They've challenged Afghanistan and Pakistan. They have challenged them. Especially Pakistan towards the start. They have challenged them really hard. I'd say apart from the fielding mishaps, which, let's be honest, they can be fixed quite easily. And I think UAE have done a really good job. And you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if the UAE managed to beat us in the Asia Cup. I would not even be surprised. But I know I've barely spoken about the squad. The bowling has been strong. Some of the bowling in there has been... It's been really good. Really, really good. Especially, I want to give some applause out for Simranjeet Singh. Especially when I've looked at the match card today, Afghanistan versus UAE, Simranjeet Singh was bowling really well, especially as a 35-year-old. I mean, mate, that is impressive. That is impressive. The fact that he's been committed to UAE for that long, and he's still playing cricket. I mean, I don't know if he's been playing for that long. I don't know. Maybe he's a first-timer as a 35-year-old. But still, that is something I can commend on. You get a virtual handshake. Anyway. The predictions. The predictions. What am I predicting? What is the Cobra? What is Saran thinking? First of all, I'm going to say this. Group A, I'm going to go generic predictions because of my bias as a Pakistan cricket fan. And simply because of the juggernaut that India is. I'm going to say that India and Pakistan will move on from Group 1. And then from Group 2, here are my predictions. I'm assuming Bangladesh... No, not Bangladesh. Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. Those are my two. That's my Super 4 team. I don't know if they're going to be using the Super 4 stage. I hope they are. Otherwise, I'd look very stupid doing this, wouldn't I? But let's hope so. Anyway. So. This is being held in India as well. And... Actually, it's not being held in... This has been far from flawless, but anyway. So, this is still a Super 4 tournament. Basically, the top 2 players are going to come out. The top 2 groups from both teams are going to come out. And then what will happen is the top 2 teams in that group will play the final. I'm assuming this will be an India and Afghanistan final. That is my prediction. An India and Afghanistan final. As for who I'm predicting will win, I can't really go past India, can I? It's just too strong of a squad to ignore. Like, even as a Pakistan fan, I can be the first to admit that India squad is too strong in order to count out. It's kind of like what Ollie was shouting at me last week with Oval Invincibles. They have too many match winners to ignore to put them in your like tournament 11. But anyway, I have spoken a lot in this time, and if you've come to the end of this video, the podcast episode, thank you so much for bearing with me. I really appreciate it. This has been far from flawless, but anyway, make sure to like and subscribe to help support out the channel. Click the notification bell to never miss out on another episode of the podcast and any other special episodes that we do, just like this one, across the week. And maybe we'll give something extra as well. Maybe we'll have another piece of content that we'll finally post. Maybe that can replace Cricket Captain. But anyway, keep supporting us on TikTok, and I will see you guys in the next one.